The girl that rejected me in college came onto me at a party 2 years later, so I rejected her back and it destroyed her ego. Now all of her friends are attacking me. I spent most of my childhood and early adulthood focused on education. I'm not naturally gifted, so I had to focus and work hard as my parents encouraged me to. Things finally slowed down later during college and I found myself being more social. There was a girl, Nat, in my social circle whom I liked, so I asked her out. She laughed when I did, but she said it was just so unexpected and that's why she laughed. Still, it kinda stung my chest. She declined and said she wasn't dating at the moment. Spoiler alert, she was definitely dating, just not me. Regardless of the hurt from the rejection, I moved on and I got a good job out of my hometown, partly based on my good school performance and connections through internship. Two of the guys from work in their 30s, let's call them Tony and Steve, hung out with me a lot and got me to come out of my shell more. They told me to start coming to the gym with them because they were tired of seeing me looking like a twig. I had a lot of fun and improved my body drastically, and whenever we would go out, Tony and Steve would be really good wingmen and got me out of my shell. I'm still a bit awkward, but much more comfortable in social situations now that I've got some experience. This happened over the course of 2 years. I wound up asking my job to work remotely to be closer to my family and got approved as long as I travel back to the office quarterly for important meetings and stuff. So now I'm back home again. A few weeks ago I went to the grocery store and I ran into Nat, the girl that rejected me in college. Turns out she's raising a kid on her own now and generally doing well for herself. We ran into each other again at a mutual friend's party later. This is when she asked when I was going to ask her out again. I said the thought hadn't really crossed my mind and she seemed offended. I said I'm not interested and thought that was that. I did kinda remove myself from the conversation quickly after that. Well, apparently that wasn't okay to do. Nat came and found me again and demanded to know why I'm not interested in her because, you were interested 2 years ago. I told her that was 2 whole years ago and she lied when she rejected me, so I haven't thought of her in that way ever since. She said a normal person would be over that and then said it's because she's a single mom, isn't it? I mean honestly, I have no interest in dating single mothers because I'm literally just now dating around. I don't want to have to deal with all the stuff that comes with a situation like that. But more to the point, I'm not attracted to Nat anymore. I just simply don't see her that way. Am I crazy here? Like why are her friends blowing me up because I don't want to date her? Tony and Steve are telling me that I don't owe her anything, but some of my friends at home are telling me to at least give her a shot. I haven't really talked to my parents about it, but my younger brother is saying I should try and my older sister is telling me to trust my gut. I just don't understand why or how this has to be such a big deal. Update 1. I spoke with my sister last night about what to do. I don't like the chaos of this situation, it's a lot of anxiety and I feel the need to resolve it. To that end, after much consideration and my sister's agreement, I reached out to Nat this morning and asked her if she would meet me for coffee tonight. I made it clear that this is not a date and it's just two friends trying to come to terms with each other, because I don't like all the messages and comments from her friends. Nat accepted pretty quickly and said she'd like to clear the air about some things. The fact that she apologized for any craziness does give me some hope that our talk later will be productive. Update 2. I met Nat for coffee at a local coffee shop last night. She showed up late, after I did, and said it was because of some childcare stuff she had to take care of. It turned out that her son's father is very much present in their lives, but just as a co-parent. The reason she is single is because co-parents are really all they can be together. They did not work well as a couple at all, but from Nat's own admission, her son's father is a very good dad. I said to Nat that these last couple weeks were very stressful for me because of her friends contacting me about her and that I'm sorry that she was offended or hurt by my saying no, but I'm not sorry for saying no. Nat stopped me and apologized herself. She said she didn't intend for any of that to happen, she just has some very loyal and passionate friends. She also said sorry for how she behaved at the party and gave me some very helpful context. Nat had just recently started dating again, and has not been having much luck. She expected as much, but she didn't expect people to be so uncaring about it. The last guy she met was quite cruel about her being used goods and harshly rejected her specifically for being a single mom. So that was fresh in her mind. Nat said she saw me and was attracted to me not just physically, but that I was less socially awkward and could hold somewhat of a decent conversation now, so she was attracted to my growth. She said she remembered that I was smart and caring but I was very socially awkward when I had first asked her out. Nat was adamant that she did not mean to laugh, she was genuinely just surprised because she never suspected that I even thought of her that way to begin with. I do believe her on this front. It turned out that she was trying to flirt with me at the party, and when I rejected her, the negative emotions she had from the last rejection just took over and she reacted poorly. She said she complained to her friends and they took it upon themselves to try to grease the wheels. To Nat's credit, the messages have stopped since yesterday after I first reached out to her and explained why I wanted to meet. In retrospect, I think I may have overreacted too. I believe this because looking at some of the messages from her friends more objectively, it looks like they were just advocating for us to be together rather than attacking me for saying no, if that makes sense. No, we're still not dating and we're both okay with that. Though we did agree that if the opportunity presents itself down the line and the timing is right, one or both of us may gently try approaching the idea again. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend that she isn't the hot girl anymore after she told me that the only reason she dated a guy like me is because she has a kid? My 29 girlfriend, 29, and I have been together for 10 months, she has a son from a previous relationship, father is not involved who is 5 years old. For the past 3 months we have been arguing a lot about money. When we first started dating I made a lot more than her. I made $112,000 a year and she made $40,000 a year, so in our relationship therefore I paid for the vast majority of the expenses and I encouraged her to use the money she saved to pay off her debt, and I even helped pay off her debt. Our relationship got much worse after I helped her out with her career. One of my cousins is high up in the state government and got her a nice job as a contractor to the state government. Her salary went up to $78K a year and she is able to work from home as well. My girlfriend started using her new money to just buy a lot of luxury items. Every time I would come to her apartment, she would have boxes. She spent a ton of money on clothes for her son. I was like, okay, sure, celebrate for a little bit then, but let's get back to responsible budgeting. However, her spending habits got worse. She took her new salary to get new credit cards and then also started buying stuff on Affirm and Klarna. We argued a lot about this and I decided to just give up on this. I was going to stop giving her advice on money unless she explicitly asks. But the problem is she wants me to still pay for everything like I did when she made $40K a year. She wants me to drive her car so I can pay for her gas when we do stuff together, and says I should take her and her son on vacation, pay for it all as well. For her son's birthday she had me buy him a PS5, then said it was from the both of us. We got into a big fight and I told her that now that she makes more money, I was going to be spending less money on her. She then flips out and says that she could get any guy she wants, and she wouldn't have even dated a guy like me if she didn't have a kid. I asked her what she meant by a guy like me, and she is like the guys I dated before, you were tall, jacked, had tats, the guy other girls all wanted them. She said I should feel lucky that she even gave me a chance. I told her I don't know what delusions you have. I saw your old photos, yeah, you were the hot girl in your early 20s, but no one is looking at you now thinking you are that anymore. You were about to be 30, you were 30 pounds heavier, thought it was closer to 40 but didn't want to be mean, and look like a mom. Sorry to tell you but no one is looking at us thinking damn how that guy got that girl. Well, you can imagine how well this went. She kicked me out of her apartment and told me to kilometers. I know what I said was a lot, but I didn't want this whole tone to be in the relationship that I have to keep buying her stuff because I'm the unattractive person in the relationship. And that I should feel blessed she is even with me. Ever since you were young, your grandpa played horrifying pranks on you to scare you when nobody was around. Now that he's passed away, you read through his diary and realized, he's not the one who played them. He's the one who stopped them from taking your life. Everyone talked about what a saint my grandpa was. His only son died just before graduating high school. A freak accident. Everyone said, such a shame. They all said, he had so much potential. They didn't know my dad knocked up my mom. She said they were in love. They were going to raise me together. But after he died, she couldn't bear to look at me anymore. My grandpa was the only one willing to take me in. He said that she had tears in her eyes when she handed me to him. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd like to think so. I could never get a read on him. I think he cared about me. I used to catch him glancing in my direction, his face softening into a smile. In those moments, he'd shuffle over to me and ruffle my hair, muttering gruff old man encouragement that always ended with kiddo. I still remember the sound of his slippers scraping against the floor. More often than not, though, he'd be entirely unpredictable. He'd make me a sandwich and slap it out of my hands before I could take a bite. Bread and meat would splatter to the floor and he'd just stare at me. Then he'd go make me another. He'd rigged up elaborate pranks to scare me. He called it reflex training. I thought it was torture. I can't count how many times I was hit in the head by a random flying ball. A quick heads up was not enough time to react. Every thump on the head was met with a defeated sigh from him. He told me that I was too soft. I needed to man up or I'd never survive. I took up football for him. But that didn't seem to make him happy either. I thought maybe if I toughened up the pranks would stop. But they didn't. In fact, they increased. As if Grandpa knew I could handle it. The mirror shattering was the worst prank of them all. I was washing my hands, when suddenly, the mirror just exploded. Luckily, I ducked fast enough to avoid the shrapneling glass shards. A second later, I heard those slippers scuff the floor as Grandpa hurried in. He told me to buck up. It was just a prank. There was no reason to cry over a prank. And besides, I wasn't hurt. Was I? I couldn't understand why he'd do these things. Sometimes I wondered if he didn't really want me after all. Maybe this was his way to get me to leave on my own so he could still be the good guy. I considered it too. I researched emancipation at 15. But he left me before I could leave him. His will left me everything except the house. He explicitly stated that the house should be burned down and the earth salted. Even in death, Grandpa was still playing pranks on me. And so here I am forced to clean and pack everything in sight. It was strange going into his room. It's not that Grandpa ever had a firm rule about staying away, but he always said that room was not meant for me. I thought I felt a tingle as I stepped through the doorway, but I'm sure it was just the feeling of unfamiliarity. I hadn't known that Grandpa kept a diary, nor did I know that he left it free and open on his bedside table. He must have been writing when he passed. I wasn't sure if I wanted to open it or not. Did I really want to know what he thought about me? That he only kept me out of obligation? That he resented me for being an inadequate replacement for his son? Like a siren's call, the book lured me in. My gaze flicked to the open page. Man who had no luck with women. How did you finally meet the one? I used to have literally zero game, but I was never lonely since I had my brother with me. The problem began when out of nowhere he turned into a freaking Chad and started pulling girls left and right. He went from playing video games with me to flirting with every girl he sees. It was like a 180 change. Whenever we went out and saw a girl he found attractive, he sweet-talked her, told some funny jokes and confidently asked for her number. But the real shock was when they would actually give him their number. And of course he took them on the most extravagant dates and his body count kept on rising. I never heard the girls say anything about him either. They always said he was charming and knew how to be there for them. Compared to him, I felt like a loser who was too scared of rejection. I was always anxious about a girl judging my looks or behavior and becoming a joke for her friend group. But somehow my brother could always do the perfect thing at the perfect time. I was jealous and wanted to be just like him, but we were on opposite spectrums. He was the life of the party. Meanwhile, I never even held hands with a girl. It took us going to a party together for me to make a change. I was extremely reluctant about going, but I came to my senses and realized that if I wanted to live like he did, I had to do things he liked. So, we went to the party together and I followed his every move. If he drank a shot, so did I. If he danced on the dance floor, so did I. It was awkward and weird to get out of my comfort zone, but it felt worth it because I was having a lot of fun. I realized I never partied properly because I was always in the corner staring at everybody having fun, wishing I could easily do that. And there I was doing just that. But I returned to reality when my brother started flirting with a girl. I tried to flirt with the girl's friend, but she was not having it. She kept giving me the cold shoulder, seemed interested in everything I had to say, and even walked away while I was talking to her. My brother's skills of talking to girls were something that I couldn't replicate. Or so I thought. The next night, I woke up with one goal in mind: to get girls. So, I did it the best way I could think of, by downloading Tinder. However, setting up my profile was impossible because I had no idea how to make a woman interested in me. My bio was also boring because I didn't have any exciting hobbies, and I didn't have any pictures that were flattering enough for Tinder. In the end, I gave up and put whatever I could think of and tried not to care too much about it because I was new to online dating. I wasn't expecting a lot of matches, but my messages were drier than a Popeye's biscuit. And the one time a girl and I matched, I had no idea how to talk to her. I never thought I would be the type to ask a woman, "What are you doing?" every 5 minutes, but here I was doing that. She never talked to me again. I got fed up with my lack of social skills and inability to flirt, and I was determined to change. So, I asked my brother, since he was the only woman expert I knew. I called him and begged for him to share his secret sauce, or give me a few tips on how to talk to women. That's when he revealed something shocking. He used to be just like me, introverted, boring, and he didn't know a thing about women. I asked how he was able to change because I needed to change as well. He told me to use a dating AI and listed off some specific ones, but he said Pickup Pal helped him flirt better, so he recommended that to me the most. Obviously, I didn't believe him and thought he wanted to gatekeep his secret because there was no way an app could change an introvert into a playboy. But he was literal proof that it could, and I rarely saw him strike out with a girl. Honestly, I didn't want to take his advice because I thought he was messing with me. So, I started searching on Google to learn about women and how to interact with them. But every website I saw had the same generic information. Say hello, be yourself, be confident. None of that had worked because after saying hello, I would start stuttering and fumbling over my words. And I couldn't be confident because I didn't know how to. At that point, I was getting desperate, and it was clear the only way to break out of my monotonous routine was to download the dating AI. It couldn't hurt to try at this point, and even though I still didn't have high expectations for it, the app worked out better than I thought it would. I used it to fix my Tinder profile because it had a bio generator and photo analyzer. For my bio, I listed some of my interests and copied what it generated onto my Tinder profile, and it chose the best pictures to use, which, thank God, because I originally had a picture of me holding a fish on my profile, and I thought that was okay. The app told me to get rid of that first. It could also generate a response to a message to keep the conversation going, but I didn't have a use for that yet. However, with a new bio and pictures, I had 4 matches in just 3 days, and I used the dating AI on all of them. All my conversations went well because I was constantly generating interesting replies, and the women seemed interested in getting to know me. I was having fun texting people, and my phone was constantly blowing up from their messages. But it didn't take me long to realize I was only connecting with one girl since we had the most in common. We started bonding over One Piece and Valorant, and our conversations quickly moved on to other interests. Talking to her felt natural, and I only used the AI when our conversations started dying because I never wanted to stop talking to this girl. After 3 weeks of nonstop texting, I asked her out on a date. She said yes, but then realized I had no idea where to take her. I was about to freak out, but I checked the AI to see if it had anything that would help me, and it had a date generator. All I had to do was put a location and her interests, and then it would pick the perfect places to take her. I chose to take her to this popular Mexican restaurant, and she loved the food. I was mostly worried about our date being awkward or me not knowing what to say because it felt like I had relied too much on the AI to help me. But our conversation went smoothly, just like it did over text, and using the AI consistently meant I knew what to say when our talks died down. Talking about things I liked and asking her if she liked it too had us talking for a while, and I got to know her by asking about her past. That was my first date, and I enjoyed it so much that I couldn't wait to go out with her again. Our conversations extended past texting, and it was clear we were both into each other, so I asked her to be my girlfriend. We've only been dating for 2 months, but I'm really happy with her. Though I'll admit, I still use Pickup Pal when I want to take her on dates because I always want things to be perfect for her. I really hope she never finds out.